What's up, guys? Coming to you today with Week 10 college football action on a packed Saturday of NCAA football here on November 1st. We're going to cover a bunch of the biggest games of the day, and I'll give you my massive lock of the day and my favorite underdog pick of the day, so slam that like button and subscribe to the channel to make sure you keep seeing these videos every single day. Let us know what you're thinking in the comments. I personally read and answer every comment I get. Check the pinned comment throughout the day to see our favorite picks, and you should definitely check back a couple of times throughout the day to see if there are any changes with injury news coming out and personnel changes coming in at the last second. Last week, guys, another pretty solid week of college football action out there. We got up to a good start. We had the Pittsburgh Panthers minus 6.5. That was a 53-34 win there for the Panthers, thanks to the offense going nuts through the air and on the ground. And since the defense didn't do much at all, they really just had to try and outscore NC State, and Pittsburgh comfortably did end up making that happen for us. So a good start today. We followed that up with a nice win there on Washington State plus 1.5. They got a dominant 28-7 win there for the Cougars. Their defense was dominant in that game, only allowing 7 points, grabbing an interception. The Washington State, just in general, they couldn't really do much wrong in this game except for giving up a couple interceptions of their own. Not the best look there, but overall, a very solid game. We had Indiana minus 25.5, a pretty big favorite there, but an absolute beat down there from the Hoosiers. They won that game 56-6 in a massacre there of UCLA, who couldn't get anything going in the right direction. Indiana looking like one of the scariest teams out there in all of college football right now. Unfortunately, Kentucky, they played spoilers for us. We had them at plus 9. The Wildcats defense just had no answer for Tennessee at all, eventually losing 56-34 despite being able to run the ball pretty well in that game. If you can't get a stop on defense, though, it really doesn't matter how much good the offense can do. You're going to be in a shootout. That's not really Kentucky's game. We also had Illinois at plus 4 as our dog of the day, and the Fighting Illini have been good to us this season in general, but not last week. They lost 25-42 against a Washington Huskies team that's actually looking pretty nuts right now coming off of that win. Illinois did not get an amazing quarterback day there from Altmaier, and their defense was just nowhere to be found. So a tough loss there, but we bounced back, cashing our massive lock of the day. We had Cincinnati minus 3.5, a 41-20 blowout win there for them over Baylor. We saw an insanely dominant 265 rushing yards from the Bearcats, and they were just never going to let up there on the Bears, bringing us home a super easy win as our lock of the day. So a pretty solid day out there overall. Over the last 2 weeks of college football action, guys, we are 9-3 here. So very, very good. Let's see if we can make this 3 weeks in a row. Let's go ahead and dive in. Got plenty of games to cover here today. And our first one, right out of the gates here, we're going to be looking at the Army Black Knights as they go on the road here to take on the Air Force Falcons. Army comes into this game only 3-4 on the season, so not exactly killing it. Their last time out was a 24-17 loss there at Tulane. They will be on the road for this one as well, playing there at Air Force. They've had some good showings on the road this season, though, blowing out UAB on the road, getting that big win there at Kansas State on the road early in the season. So they've shown they can travel a little bit in that loss against Tulane. I mean, they didn't play terrible. The running game was doing what it's supposed to do, although only 233 yards on 63 rushing attempts is not ideal. The defense was okay, had an interception, gave up a couple touchdown passes, also struggled a little bit against the run and only generated that 1 turnover. Not really enough, despite the fact that Army didn't turn the ball over at all. So a pretty good showing, honestly, against a very good Tulane team. Like, that Tulane Green Wave squad is no joke out there. So Army not able to get the job done last week, but we'll see what they can do here as they go on the road to take on the Air Force Falcons in a rivalry game for sure. These, military service games are always pretty exciting stuff. The Falcons, they're only 2-5 on the season. They're all the way down to 11th in the Mountain West. They are coming off a win. They took down Wyoming 24-21 their last time out. So maybe a little bit of a letdown spot here potentially for Air Force. They did also lose to Navy earlier this season, so I'm sure they're jonesing to try and come up with a win here in one of their rivalry games. Last week in their win over the Wyoming Cowboys, not exactly a juggernaut, don't get me wrong. We didn't love what we saw in terms of quarterback play, but that's not really what Air Force does. They just run the ball a million times and hope that will get them the win, and it worked out. They had 56 rushes for 330 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns there against Wyoming. I don't think Air Force is going to be able to do that same thing here against Army, at least not the same way. We'll see. Maybe they can. It has been kind of crazy watching what this team's been able to do in the ground game overall. They also did a great job taking care of the ball, 0 turnovers in the game, and they forced a couple interceptions there against Wyoming. I don't really see that happening for them against the Army Black Knights necessarily, but we'll see. Defensively, a pretty good day, but they did still give up 21 points. And over the course of the season, guys, this Air Force team is giving up 37.3 points per game. They give up an awful lot of offense. Army, they give up an average of 24 points per game, which isn't quite as bad, but is still not even in the top 50 nationally. So Looking at the numbers for this one, guys, the Air Force Falcons are -1 for this game. We got a total of 48.5. Army 3-3-1 against the spread. Air Force 3-4 against the spread. In this game, guys, we're actually been looking at the over here quite a bit. I love over 48.5 in this one. Air Force has played in a lot of high-scoring contests this season, as the Falcons are a strong second in the nation rushing and 15th in total offense. While their defense has been abysmal, 135th in the nation yards allowed, it's reasonable to expect a lower scoring affair between the military academies given their ground games. But Air Force has a higher scoring result in their last one, a 31-34 loss against Navy, and we wouldn't be surprised to see a similar type of result in this game, so definitely give us over 48.5, a very small number in this game. Next up, guys, we got a little more traditional of a match. We've got the Duke Blue Devils going on the road to take on the Clemson Tigers. Now, don't worry about Duke bias, guys. This is a Duke basketball hat from way back in the day. We are not a big Duke guy anymore necessarily. Now, the Blue Devils, they come into this game fresh off a 27-18 loss there against number 12 Georgia Tech, which honestly, it wasn't a terribly played game there by the Blue Devils, and Georgia Tech is a very, very good team. Duke had won 3 straight coming into that game, so they'd been turning it around a little bit. The passing game just looks amazing. 2 touchdowns, 373 yards through the air for Duke. Very, very good. Nate Shepard did a decent job on the ground. As a team, the ground attack, though, didn't look great. Definitely some things that could be fixed there, but it wasn't maybe quite as bad as those final numbers would look. They were able to move the ball on the ground just a little bit, and that's against one of the toughest ACC teams out there. Like Georgia Tech looking like one of the stronger teams in the nation. So Duke was able to get something done there offensively against a good opponent. Defensively, giving up 27 points against Georgia Tech is not a terrible day. They limited the passing game a good amount, only gave up 205 yards through the air. They did struggle a bit against the run, gave up a couple rushing touchdowns. They didn't force any turnovers either, which is a bit of a problem. It wasn't a terrible day out there, though. You know, like a 27-18 loss is very, very respectable, and Duke clearly not on the same level there as Georgia Tech on a normal day. So we'll see what they can do in this one. Duke's been a great passing team. They're 4th in the nation in passing yards per game. They are 38th in points scored per game. So this Duke team has some offense, and we'll see how well that offense travels here as they head to Clemson to take on the Tigers. They've been one of the biggest letdowns of the season so far, losing their season opener against LSU, losing at Georgia Tech, losing to Syracuse, and losing last week 35-24 against SMU. Not a great look for a team that was supposed to compete for a national championship this year. That is not looking like the case whatsoever, guys. Quarterback play last week was excellent. That has not been the norm for this team. We'll see if that can keep rolling. 3 passing touchdowns, 317 yards against SMU. Not exactly the same here as going against Duke, but we'll see what they can do. The running game, not really the main focus here, although they did run the ball 30 times and ended up with only 35 rushing yards. That's crazy, crazy bad. They've got a decent group of wide receivers, but the defense just did nothing out there, giving up 2 touchdown passes, giving up 139 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. Didn't generate a turnover. They just did not have any real answers out there for what SMU wanted to do offensively. And Clemson just not looking like they're living up to expectations. Not even close. Not even the ballpark of what they were expected to do this season. They're 113th in the nation in rushing yards per game. They are 37th in points against, 81st in college football, guys, in points scored per game. That's rough. That's a rough look for Clemson. So we'll see what they can do here playing at home. They are 2.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 56. Duke is 3-4 against the spread this season. Clemson is 2-5 against the spread. Guys, we liked Duke a lot more when it was plus 3.5, but we will still take them here at plus 2.5. It's worth keeping a very close eye on the Clemson quarterback situation. Their starter might be able to play coming off an injury. Otherwise, we expect the second start in the row from their backup, and second starts for backups tend to go a lot worse than the first start. It's been a disaster season for the Clemson Tigers, like we were saying, 3-4 overall, 2-3 in the ACC. They've lost 3 times at home, including ACC matchups against SMU and Syracuse, as well as a loss against LSU, which also doesn't look like that great considering LSU's recent struggles. Duke let a lot of opportunities get away from them in their last outing against Georgia Tech, and if the Blue Devils can clean up those issues in the red zone, this is a group that has a much higher ceiling. We're going to continue to sell Clemson, but keep an eye on their quarterback situation. Hey guys, hopping here with a quick shout out to the sponsor of today and every day's video, and that is StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and see the top confidence picks from our entire team of experienced cappers. Right now, our premium members are getting daily NBA, NHL, UFC, NFL, and college football picks. We've been running very, very hot on the NBA prop side of things. We've had an excellent start to the NHL season. That's been on a really, really good run as well. So definitely want to get over there to stumpthespread.com and check out the premium picks. But if you just want to sample what we've got going on over there, we've got 2 great ways to do that. First of all, you can go to stumpthespread.com, click on that free picks tab, and see all the free picks that we offer there every single day that have nothing to do with these videos. They're going to be on all kinds of different sports. Definitely want to check on those free picks. You can also use our free to use bet size calculator while you're over there. But also, guys, you want to go over to stumpthespread.com and get on that free email newsletter. It's a fantastic resource. Every single day you'll get 1 email. It'll have at least 1 free pick, sometimes 2 or 3 free picks in it. All kinds of great information on niche sports betting like golf, NASCAR, tennis, all kinds of good stuff like that. Also, big write-ups on the major sports. Parlays are included in those emails as well. Lots of touchdown props here on Sundays. We cashed a touchdown prop last Sunday as well. So definitely a lot of great information in those emails. And it's very easy to sign up. You just go to stumpthespread.com, click that little green login button. You'll set up a free account. All they're going to ask you for is your name and your email address. That is it. And you'll get 1 email every single day with lots of great information straight to your inbox. So definitely get in on that if you're interested, guys. It's a great resource for any serious sports bettor. Also, guys, you want to get over there to stumpthespread.com and check out all the premium stuff. Now, last week was a bit of a rocky week for our premium college football picks, guys. They were a bit rough. Some bad luck in there. A push on that Mississippi State +7. That was really unlucky. LSU falling apart in the second half. Oklahoma not coming through. Vanderbilt was a nice win, though. Nebraska did let us down as well. So coming off a bad week is usually a good time to get on board, guys, because the bad results don't usually continue. That's how we put up winning seasons over here. If you have a bad week, you're usually in for a bounce back. You're honestly better getting in after a bad week than you are getting in after we've gone on some insane run, because obviously regression is going to happen at some point. So regardless, get over there and check out the premium picks. Tons of college football, NFL coming up tomorrow, obviously. All kinds of NBA, hockey every single day. It's just a fantastic resource. Definitely get over there and check that out. Also, if you're a huge fan of what you're seeing from us here every single day, click that little join button right below the video to sign up for a YouTube channel membership. YouTube channel members get early access to all of our videos, get their name up on screen in every single video, but maybe more importantly, get access to our members only giveaways. Every 7 days here at Stump the Spread on YouTube, we put the name of every single YouTube channel member on a big wheel. We spin that wheel. Whoever it lands on gets a Stump the Spread hoodie mailed right to their address of choice. Love doing these giveaways for our members. The more members we get, the more giveaways we're going to do. Right now we're doing 1 a week. I would love to get up to 2 a week. That sounds like an absolute blast to me. So definitely become a YouTube channel member if you want to help make that happen. But guys, we're going to go ahead and dive back in. We've got a ton of college football games to cover here on a very, very busy Saturday. And next up, we're looking at one of the big ones, guys. We got the number 10 Miami Hurricanes going on the road to take on the SMU Mustangs. Miami comes into this game fresh off a big bounce back win. They blew out Stanford 42-7. That game really, the result was never in doubt. There was a bounce back after a bad loss there. It wasn't a Saturday game. I want to say it was like a Friday game or a Thursday game where they lost to the Louisville Cardinals 24-21. Yeah, that was a bad look there for the Hurricanes. They're a team that definitely sees themselves as a playoff team. We'll see if they can actually make that happen. Carson Beck got back on track after that terrible game against Louisville where he got picked off like 1,000 times. Threw 1 touchdown pass, completed 21 of 28 passes. Very good stuff from him. Oh, we liked what we saw from Miami in the running game. Now, obviously, this is a step-down game for them going up against the Stanford Cardinals, but it's still an ACC game, and they took care of business for sure. The wide receiver group had a good day. Everybody doing well there on offense. And on defense, pretty much the same thing. Grabbed a couple interceptions in the game, only gave up 7 points, shut down the run, shut down the pass. It doesn't get a whole lot more dominant than a 42-7 win. So good stuff there from Miami. Could be a little bit of a test for them in this game. They're going on the road to take on the SMU Mustangs. Now, SMU, they come into this game fresh off a tough 13-12 loss there at Wake Forest. Definitely a game that they would like to have back. I'm sure they feel like they are a level up on Wake Forest. They've had some decent showings, though, beating Clemson earlier this year. They did beat, they lost to Baylor. That was a tough game, but they've had some good wins. They've had some tough losses. Right now, they are probably, really trying to work their way up the standings there in the ACC. They're 3-1 in conference play. In that loss against Wake Forest, really nothing went right for SMU in that game. It was pretty bad. The quarterback situation didn't look great. Kevin Jennings, 1 interception, only 171 passing yards. The running game looked terrible as well. They just had no answers for the defense of Wake Forest, which is kind of odd. The SMU defense played amazing on that side of the ball, only giving up 13 points, grabbing a couple interceptions, limiting the running game severely, generating 3 turnovers there via the fumble, and they still managed to lose that game. It was just a terrible day there for the offense there for SMU, and I'm not going to say they have those all the time. They are 50th in the nation in points per game, not that bad, 34th in passing yards, but last week was just not looking good, and when you look at their strength of schedule, all of a sudden maybe they don't look quite so hot, and that's part of the reason they're getting 12.5 points at home in this game. We've got a total of 50.5. Miami is 5-2 against the spread this season. SMU is 2-6 against the spread. And guys, we're going to be on Miami minus 12.5, and we like it quite a bit. After the ineptitude we saw from SMU's offense last week on the road in their head-scratching loss to Wake Forest, we are much lower on the Mustangs here going forward. SMU simply couldn't get anything going consistently through the air or on the ground against Wake, putting up just 246 yards in that losing effort. If SMU had a tough time against the Demon Deacons defense, I would be shocked if they're able to turn things around this week against Miami. They're one of the top defenses in the ACC. They also had some very, very good results, last week in terms of quarterback play. Obviously, that Louisville game does scare us a little bit, but I am very confident in the Canes with this one, especially with what they showed in the second half there against Stanford. So definitely be on Miami here at minus 12.5. That's going in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, we've got the Navy midshipmen going on the road to take on the North Texas Mean Green. Now, Navy, they are undefeated on the season, 7-0 already, absolutely cruising. They haven't played the toughest schedule, obviously. I mean, beating VMI, UAB, Tulsa, Rice, Air Force in a close game, beating Temple in a 1-point game, and then taking down FAU last week, 42-32. So a 10-point win, but you gotta find some resume building wins here, guys. Navy hasn't played the toughest schedule. They are one of those teams that's just going to run the ball every single down. 6 rushing touchdowns last week, 56 carries, almost 400 yards on the ground. Crazy, crazy stuff there. We'll see if they can replicate that in this one going up against North Texas, but overall, we don't hate what we're seeing from the Navy midshipmen right now. Defensively last week against Florida Atlantic, they did have some problems. They gave up 4 passing touchdowns in that game. That's not what you're looking for. They did generate 3 turnovers, so that's very, very solid. But I do worry a little bit about the Navy defense. I mean, over the course of the season, like I said, not against the toughest schedule, they're pretty decent, 54th in the nation in points against. They're 16th in points for, and they are the top rushing yards per game team in the entirety of college football. So we'll see what they can do here as they go on the road to take on the North Texas Mean Green. They are 7-1 on the season, coming off a win over Charlotte. They also haven't played the most overwhelming schedule. Their only game against a ranked opponent was a 63-36 loss against South Florida. So we'll see what they can do. Obviously, last week in Charlotte, things went very smoothly. A 54-20 win. Everything worked out. They did have an interception and a fumble loss in that game, but it didn't really matter. They passed for 608 yards in that game, also ran for 146 yards. The Charlotte 49ers are not a real college football team at this point. It just doesn't look very good. So we can't take too much seriously from this game. The Mean Green giving up 20 points in that game, not a terrible look, obviously, to give up only 20 points against anyone. Over the course of the season, North Texas they're first in the nation, putting up 46.1 points per game. They're 77th in points against, though, and they're going to have to find a way to stop the run in this game. So we'll see if they can make that happen. They're actually 6.5-point favorites here at home. We've got a total of 65.5. Navy's 2-5 against the spread. North Texas is 6-2 against the spread. But guys, I do like Navy here getting 6.5 points. Obviously, we would like this more if Navy was getting a full touchdown, but the midshipmen have been one of the most dangerous offensive teams in the American, 11th in the nation offensive output, and first in rushing. This is a huge contrast in styles, as North Texas is 6th in the nation in passing, and both teams have middling defenses. This has higher scoring affair written all over it, but in these types of matchups between higher tier ground game versus higher tier passing game, I usually like to tend towards the team that likes the running game because there's a lot less variance there. Obviously, they can control the time of possession. That can make a big, big difference as well. So I will be taking the Navy midshipmen here, getting 6.5 points. I think this is a very, very serious underdog that we have to consider in this spot. Next up, guys, we're going to be looking at the UCF Knights going on the road to take on the Baylor Bears. UCF, guys, they're 4-3 on the season, got off to a pretty good start, but then ran into a rough time there, losing to Kansas State, Kansas, and Cincinnati. Last week, though, they bounced back, getting the 45-13 win there over West Virginia, so well played there. Not like West Virginia's the toughest opponent, but we'll give the Knights some credit where credit is due. The passing game looked okay. Jackson did get picked off once, but passed for almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, so a good day there. Jaden Nixon Clemson looked like a monster in the running game. 7 carries for 116 yards. We also liked what Montgomery did on the ground as well. And as a team, they had 255 rushing yards on 35 carries and 3 rushing touchdowns. There is nothing negative to say about that. A very dominant ground game there for UCF. The defense looked great, giving up 13 points against West Virginia. The Mountaineers, though, not very good. Not exactly a juggernaut of a team that you could be super stoked to knock off. They still have yet to find a win in the Big 12, and they're 2-5 on the season. So it's been pretty bleak, but not to take anything away from UCF. They had a very good day defensively, came up with a turnover, and only gave up 13 points. So a very good day out there for the Knights. They come into this one 54th in the nation in points per game, 16th in the nation in points against those. So the defense for UCF, still pretty decent, but this could be a bit of a tough spot here as they go on the road to take on the Baylor Bears, who are now 4-4 on the season. They did take that 41-20 loss last week at number 21 Cincinnati, a loss that we profited off of, so we weren't too upset about it. In that game, Baylor didn't get too much going overall. I mean, I guess liked what we saw from Sawyer Robertson passing the ball, 2 touchdown passes, but only 137 yards to the air, so nothing too special. The running game was also working. Michael Turner, 14 carries, 90 yards. I mean, as a team, they did turn the ball over twice, so that's not great. That did not help, but it just seemed like they were outclassed by Cincinnati in this game. But they're playing a team that's much more their level in this one. Defensively last week, Baylor did not have a good time, couldn't stop the run, couldn't stop the pass, couldn't generate any turnovers either. So that is a concern for them here, despite the fact they're playing at home. Over the course of the season, they're 119th in the nation in points against, but they are 35th in points for, and they are the 5th highest passing yardage team in college football. So looking at the numbers, guys, the Bears are -3.5 at home. We've got a total of 59.5. UCF, they're 3-3 against the spread. Baylor only 1-7 against the spread this year. But guys, I think this is a good spot for them to get an against the spread win. I'll take Baylor here at -3.5. They've been one of the teams we've been most disappointed in with this season, but the Bears have shown flashes of great play at times. It's been pretty inconsistent for this 4-4 squad. Baylor still ranks a very respectable 5th in the nation in passing and 22nd in total offense. Their defense has been holding them back. We actually think this is a good spot for Baylor to bounce back as they head home to take on an opponent that's 1-3 in Big 12 play. UCF has gone against an easier schedule, which has inflated their statistics, but the Knights haven't been great on the road, losing at K-State and Cincinnati. We like Baylor at home to get the back on track win and cover in this game. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the West Virginia Mountaineers going on the road to take on number 22 Houston. The West Virginia Mountaineers, guys, 2-6 on the season. They've lost 5 in a row now, not looking so hot. Lost last week against TCU, but ever since their shocking upset win against Pitt, they've lost at Kansas, against Utah, at BYU, at UCF, and then that loss that we just mentioned against TCU. And these games have not been competitive at all. It's been pretty brutal. In their most competitive loss here recently, that was losing to TCU, which the Horned Frogs are nothing special. I mean, they are 6-2, but 3-2 in Big 12 play. West Virginia still looking for their first win in Big 12 play, and it didn't look great. I mean, Scotty Fox Jr. was fine, 2 touchdowns, 301 yards through the air. That was very, very good, but the running game couldn't get anything going at all. 41 yards on 32 carries. I know there's a negative 14-yard run mixed in there, but still, it was pretty brutal. The passing game, like I said, did look good. Some wide receivers having good days. They didn't turn the ball over, so that's nice. But really, guys, I mean, giving up 23 points to anybody is not that bad, but I was not thrilled with what I saw from West Virginia on defense. Gave up almost 250 passing yards and a passing touchdown. Gave up only 96 yards on 33 carries. They were pretty good against the run, but let's keep in mind that was against TCU, and things are about to look a lot different in this game for the Mountaineers. They're about to be facing a much tougher opponent, and over the course of the year, they're 105th in the nation in points allowed per game. They're 115th in points for. There just aren't a lot of positives to find right now for the West Virginia Mountaineers, who are 15th in the Big 12, dead last. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road to take on the Houston Cougars. They're 22nd in the ranked 22nd in the nation. They're 7-1 on the year. They won their last 3 in a row. Their only loss this season was against then number 11 Texas Tech, a very tough opponent. Last week they came up with the 24-16 win there at number 24 Arizona State. A very, very good win there for the Cougars. We loved what we saw in terms of quarterback play. 201 yards through the air, 1 touchdown, 17 of 22 through the air. That is very, very efficient passing, guys. The running game also looked very, very good. Wiegman there is a monster. 21 carries, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So accounting for over 300 yards of total offense and 3 total touchdowns. Very, very dominant performance from him, going up against a top 25 opponent. And that's why the Cougars now find themselves in the top 25 really, really looking good out there in this game. Defensively, they looked great too, giving up only 16 points, slowing down but not stopping the pass, basically stopping the run completely. They only generated 1 turnover, so nothing too crazy there, but a very good day for a Houston Cougars team defensively that is looking pretty freaking good. They're 21st in the nation, giving up only 18 points per game. They're in the top 50 or something like that in rushing yards per game. Like, this squad is all of a sudden looking very, very respectable, and that's how they end up in the top 25. And looking at the numbers here, guys, they are 13.5 point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 49.5. West Virginia, 4-4 against the spread, 6-2 against the spread there for Houston. Guys, we're going to be taking the Houston Cougars at minus 13.5. The Cougars have quietly become a top-tier threat in the Big 12 this season, standing 7-1 overall. This is a great opportunity for Houston to pick up another conference win as they take on one of the worst teams in the Big 12. West Virginia's been bad on both sides of the ball, 99th in the nation offense, 104th in total defense. West Virginia has been awful away from home as well, 0-4 on road games, including blowout losses on the road in all of their Big 12 road contests. This is a fantastic spot to back Houston minus 13.5, and this could potentially be our lock of the day. Rolling through these games, guys, we're looking at the number 2 Indiana Hoosiers going on the road to take on the Maryland Terrapins. Now, the Hoosiers, they're undefeated on the season, 8-0 overall. They've got wins over Illinois, Oregon, Michigan State, and then last week they got the blowout win over UCLA for us, easily cashing that one as they cover the spread 56-6. So a bonkers performance there from the Hoosiers. They're looking like one of the best teams in the nation. Loved what we saw from Fernando Mendoza. Except for that interception, that obviously wasn't great, but the running game looked amazing there. 262 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. Obviously, the wide receiver group is looking very, very solid. They didn't turn the ball over a single time except for those 2 interceptions by Fernando and Alberto Mendoza. But I mean, those were not huge problems in a game. You're blowing out your opponent 56-6. Now, defensively, obviously a masterclass there from the Hoosiers against a pretty mediocre UCLA team, but still very, very good work, shutting off the pass, shutting off the run, and coming up with 3 turnovers. Like, it does not get much better than that. This Indiana team is pretty nuts. They are 3rd in the nation in points per game, 3rd in the nation in points against, giving only 10.9 points per game. They're 10th in the nation in rushing yards. Like, there's not a whole lot this squad can't do, and they're going on the road here to take on the Maryland Terrapins, who are 4-3 on the season. They were playing some crazy games early on, but things have tailed off a little bit, guys. Last week, a 20-17 loss against UCLA. There's a little opponent comparison there. They've also lost to Nebraska and Washington over their last few games, so not exactly killing it. In their loss to that UCLA team that just lost to the Hoosiers by 50, Maryland only had 1 passing touchdown, also 1 interception, passed for 210 yards. The running game wasn't that crazy. I mean, 127 yards on 26 carries and no rushing touchdowns is not great. They also fumbled the ball away once, and defensively giving up 20 points to UCLA. I mean, that's not terrible to give up only 20 points against anybody, but I guess I have to give them credit for getting a couple interceptions. They also gave up 193 yards on the ground. That is a huge problem here as they're about to go up against an Indiana team that is more than happy to just run the ball down after down. So definitely tons of room for concern here about Maryland. The Terrapins over the course of the season are 130th in the nation rushing yards, 74th in points for. They are 18th in points against, but when you look at their strength of schedule, it becomes really, really obvious why that could be the case. So looking at the numbers for this game, Maryland, they're getting 21.5 points at home. We've got a total of 50.5 in this game. Indiana's 5-3 against the spread. Maryland's 5-2 against the spread. I don't care, guys. Give me the number 2 Indiana Hoosiers here, minus 21.5. We like Indiana a lot more if we get it at minus 21, but I don't care. The Hoosiers are certainly good enough to outpace Maryland by 1 touchdown per quarter, even on the road. Indiana has been elite on both sides of the ball, 5th in the nation offense and 6th in total defense. For us, this one comes down to how focused Indiana will be as they head on the road to take on one of the lesser teams at the Big Ten. Maryland looked completely inept on offense their last outing going against UCLA, and that wasn't a huge surprise coming from an offense that is 100th in the nation yards and 126th in rushing. It's a bad sign when you have a dual threat quarterback like Maryland does, but still have a one-dimensional offense that relies heavily on the pass. Next up, guys, heading to the Big Ten, we're looking at the Michigan State Spartans going on the road to take on the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Now, Michigan State 3-5 on the season, but that was their first 3 games of the year, beating Western Michigan, Boston College, and Youngstown State. Not nearly as impressive as getting wins in any of their other games would have been, which they have failed to do, guys. They lost at USC, they lost at Nebraska, they lost to UCLA 38-13, got obliterated there by number 3 Indiana, and their last time out against number 25 Michigan, a 31-20 loss there in a rivalry game. That has to sting, guys. We didn't love what we saw from anybody throwing the ball there for Michigan State. They are trying out different quarterbacks at this point, and it's not looking great. We'll see who they actually put under center in this game, but I am certainly worried about that. The running game actually looked okay. Frazier, 14 carries, 109 yards on the ground. That's very, very good work. That being said, if you hadn't snapped off that 149-yard run, those numbers would have been an awful lot worse. The passing game, like I said, if you don't have a good quarterback throwing you the ball, I can't really lay it at the struggles at the feet of any of these receivers in terms of, turning the ball over. Only one turnover on the day for Michigan State, but that was more than enough for the Wolverines to take advantage of them there. So not a good day offensively and defensively. They had a 0-0-0 answer there for the running game of the Michigan Wolverines. Guys gave up 276 yards on the ground and 4 rushing touchdowns. You're going to have to find a way to stop the run if you want to have any sort of chance in college football these days, and the Spartans could not do it. Their numbers this season are not good either. They're 118th in points against per game this season. That is brutal. 78th in points for. This is just not a very good team. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road to take on a Minnesota Golden Gophers team that's 3-2 in Big Ten play. They did lose their last time out, a 41-3 just annihilation there at Iowa, but they've got wins this season over Nebraska. They've got a win over Rutgers. This team is not terrible. So I'm expecting a big bounce back from what I saw from them against Iowa there. Obviously, nothing went right. 3 interceptions there from Drake Lindsey. I'm expecting a bounce back from him. The running game couldn't get going either. Definitely not something that's the norm for the Golden Gophers. Defensively, getting shredded, obviously, but the offense puts you in that many bad situations. You can only do so much. They only gave up 3.7 yards per carry. That was a pretty good look there for the Golden Gophers defensively last week, and didn't give up too much to the pass. Only gave up 141 passing yards. So overall, a pretty good showing there defensively, despite the fact they were constantly put in bad situations. So looking at their season-long numbers, you can tell this team is actually fairly solid. They're only giving up 21.8 points per game. They're 98th in the nation in points for. This is a team that can normally move the ball, and I'm expecting them to be able to move the ball here against the Spartans. Michigan State, they're 4-4 against the spread. Minnesota's 2-5-1 against the spread, but I'll definitely take Minnesota here at -3. This is a team that we generally don't like on the road, but feel they can play above their talent level at home behind their home field advantage. It's unfortunate for the Golden Gophers that they've been dealing with injuries in the backfield for an offense that would love to lean more on their ground game, but we see the Minnesota defense being the difference maker in this one. The Minnesota is 15th in the nation in total defense, and they should shut down Michigan State's 109th ranked offense. Michigan State put everything into their effort last week at home against rival Michigan, but it wasn't even close to enough. We're fading Michigan State here, coming off a very disappointing result. Next up, guys, we're looking at the number 13 Texas Tech Red Raiders going on the road to take on the Kansas State Wildcats. Now, Texas Tech comes into this game 7-1 on the season, ranked 13th in the nation. They bounced back after that tough loss at Arizona State to demolish Oklahoma State 42-0. Yeah, that one got out of hand quick. Not a whole lot to be taken from those statistics, obviously, as this was just a huge talent level mismatch. But yeah, Texas Tech did everything they wanted to do. The passing game looked clean. The running game looked clean for what they wanted to do out there. And yeah, just an easy day. They fumbled it away a couple times, but clearly a game where the Red Raiders were able to be careless a bit. Just in general, guys, I mean, this was a domination in terms of their defense, giving up 0 points, a complete shutout there, and the Red Raiders have been good this season in general, no question about that. I mean, they're 4th in the nation, giving up 12.4 points per game. They're 4th in the nation, scoring 43.6 per game of their own. They've got big wins this season over Kansas, at Utah. Now, they haven't been that tested this year, so that's my concern coming into this game. They're also coming off of a walk-off. Then they've got BYU lurking after this game, so we'll see what they can do here as they go on the road to take on the Kansas State Wildcats, who are 4-4 on the season, but playing some of their best ball of the year over their last 2 games, a 41-28 win over TCU. And then last week, they went into Kansas and got the 42-17 win over a Kansas Jayhawks team that is not a walkover. Now, we liked what we saw from Avery Johnson last week, 11 of 17, 2 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, and 231 yards to the air. The running game, obviously a lot of guys getting touches there, but Joe Jackson putting up 70 yards on 20 carries, not nothing. And Avery Johnson running for a couple touchdowns himself. They only turned the ball over once in the whole game, so very solid there. And the defense looked excellent, giving up 17 points is all, gathering a couple interceptions and a couple fumble recoveries, so 4 total turnovers created in that game. Very good stuff out there from the Kansas State Wildcats over their last 2 weeks, not just over last week. Over the course of the season, they're 53rd in points for, 83rd in points against. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, Kansas State's getting 7 points. We've got a total of 52.5. Texas Tech is 7-1 against the spread. Kansas State is 4-4 against the spread, and this might seem a little bit crazy. It might be a little contrarian, but we're going to be on the Kansas State Wildcats here getting 7 points. Kansas State has been quietly playing much better ball over the past month. The Wildcats are starting to live up to their preseason billing. K-State has a great home field advantage, and it'll be interesting to see what we get from Texas Tech in this kind of environment, as the Red Raiders didn't look good in their last outing on the road, losing at Arizona State by a final of 22-26. We've been very high on Texas Tech this season, but we're a little concerned with the Red Raiders given their injuries at the quarterback situation. Morton looks like he's going to play, but if he goes down, solid backup quarterback Hammond is now out with a knee injury. So could be a little bit sketchy of a situation there at quarterback for Texas Tech, and that's part of the reason we like Kansas State here getting the points. Cruising through these games, we're looking at the Arizona Wildcats going on the road to take on the Colorado Buffaloes. Arizona 4-3 on the season. They're fresh off a tough 3-point loss against Houston. They also lost a very close game against BYU. So very much a team that would be looking to get back on track if they possibly can in that nail biter of a loss there against Houston. Yeah, we liked what we saw in terms of quarterback play from Arizona. 2 touchdowns, 269 yards to the air, completing 24 of 26 passes. Doesn't get a lot better than that. They also moved the ball really, really well on the ground. 2 touchdowns, 112 yards on 31 carries. Really no complaints for me with what Arizona was able to do offensively here against a pretty good Cougars team. The problem was the defense just did not show up. They gave up 31 points, 3 passing touchdowns, only 164 yards to the air, but they really struggled against the run. That could be the problem here. If they were worried about the run, though, this might not be the time to be super concerned. We'll see. Over the course of the year, their numbers look very good, pretty much a comfortable top 50 team. They're about to take on the Colorado Buffaloes, a team that is not exactly a running the ball kind of juggernaut. They're fresh off a blowout, dismantling loss there at Utah, where they lost 53-7. They've played some close games this year, but that was not one of them. Got obliterated. Only 7 points on the day, 1 interception, no touchdown passes. I mean, it was a brutal, brutal day out there. They ran for that 1 touchdown, and overall, what did they have? Less than 150 yards of offense, something like that, something insanely bad. And defensively, they got destroyed. Could not stop the run, giving up 422 rushing yards on 51 carries and 4 rushing touchdowns. So, a horrendous day for the Colorado Buffaloes. And over the course of the year, their numbers don't look amazing. They're 102nd in the nation in points per game. They're 88th in points against. I'm not super stoked about what I'm seeing from Colorado right now. So looking at the numbers, I'm not shocked to see them getting points. They're getting 4.5 here at home. We've got a total of 52.5. Arizona's 4-3 against the spread. Colorado is 3-4-1 against the spread. Guys, I love Arizona in this spot. It's more of a bet against Colorado than a vote of confidence in Arizona, but to be fair, I do feel like Arizona might be a bit better than their 1-3 record in the Big 12 might indicate. Arizona has shown some very positive signs on the defensive side of the ball this season, ranking 17th in the nation in yards allowed, and the Wildcats have one of the better quarterbacks in the conference, which is always important when going on the road. The wheels seem to be falling off for Colorado. They're 1-4 in Big 12 while ranking 108th in the nation in offense, 120th in total defense. They look terrible in the last outing. I don't see them looking all that much better playing at home in this one. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we're looking at the South Carolina Gamecocks going on the road to take on the number 7 Ole Miss Rebels. The Gamecocks 3-5 on the year. They've lost their last 3 in a row, but fairly excusable losses. They lost at LSU 20-10. That's against number 10, number 11 LSU. They lost at home 26-7 against number 14 Oklahoma, and then they lost at home 29-22 against number 4 Alabama their last time out. This team just has the roughest possible schedule you could imagine, and they kept it within a touchdown there against the Crimson Tide. They did end up losing, though. Lenora Sellers, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 222 yards. The running game was fine. I'm not going to say it was dominant. They also fumbled the ball away once, so that was a bit concerning. Defensively, they did kind of slow down Alabama, only giving up 72 rushing yards on Alabama's 23 attempts. They didn't stop the passing game of Ty Simpson, but they did some good stuff. Also generated a couple fumble recoveries. So overall, not a bad day. Has to be pretty disappointing, though, to still lose that game by 7. Obviously, the Gamecocks have just had a terrible way to go against some of the toughest competition available in college football. They're still, they're 39th in the nation in points against, so they're playing some good defense, but not putting up enough numbers offensively to put themselves in position for wins. Now, Ole Miss, they are 7-1 on the year. They're 7th in the nation. They're fresh off a big 34-26 win there at Oklahoma. Week before that, they lost a tough one there against Georgia, but they've played really, really well this season. Some big wins mixed in there, and that was a very big win for them last week against the Sooners, a very good team. We liked what we saw in general. I mean, the running game looked good. The defense really looked good. I mean, giving up 26 points, pretty solid stuff there. Like what we saw in terms of the running game as well. Like, not a lot of weaknesses here for this Ole Miss team necessarily. Liked what we saw. They did a good job of holding on to the ball. 0 turnovers in the game, and they ended up forcing one of their own and only giving up 26 points, limiting the run, limiting the pass. Just a very good day across the board for the Ole Miss Rebels. So a pretty good showing there. We'll see if they can back it up in this one. They are 12.5 point favorites at home. We've got a total of 54.5 in this game. South Carolina is 4-4 against the spread. Ole Miss 5-3 against the spread, and I'll be backing Ole Miss here at -12.5. They really impressed us last week in that upset win on the road against Oklahoma. Thought the Rebels were going to be dead tired coming off their previous road loss against Georgia, but that simply wasn't the case. Ole Miss was able to win up front against Oklahoma, who had the #1 ranked defense in the nation coming into that game. South Carolina is likely in a difficult mental state right now, given how they collapsed late in their last outing at home against Alabama. This is one of the last opponents I'd want to face on the road coming out of such a brutal result. Ole Miss 9th in the nation in offense compared to South Carolina, who is 126th, and that'll be the difference maker in this game. Last but not least, guys, we're going to be looking at number 8, Georgia Tech, going on the road to take on the NC State Wolfpack. Now, Georgia Tech, they've had a great season. They're 8-0, undefeated. They haven't maybe been that tested. I mean, they beat Clemson early in the year, but we've seen what Clemson's turned into. They beat Duke not too long ago, and then last week, a 41-16 blowout win there against Syracuse. So a little bit of, still kind of need to be tested here. We'll see what they can do in this matchup. I mean, against Syracuse, they were very clearly outclassing Syracuse. I mean, King passed for 3 touchdowns and over 300 yards. He also ran for 2 touchdowns and nearly 100 yards. Like, a dominant performance from him against a pretty mediocre opponent. We liked what they were able to do through the air and on the ground. They only turned the ball over once. A pretty solid day there offensively and defensively, giving up only 16 points. A very good day there as well. Limiting but not stopping the run, slowing down the pass quite a bit, only getting that 1 turnover there via the fumble. But regardless, any day where you'll give up only 16 points is a pretty good day defensively. On the season, they're 27th in the nation, scoring just over 35 points per game, and they're 34th in the nation, giving up 20 per game. This team is a very, very solid one, given the competition that they face so far this year. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road to take on the NC State Wolfpack, who are 4-4 on the season, fresh off a 53-34 loss there at Pitt. They also lost in a blowout at Notre Dame, but now they get to go back home. So we'll see what they're able to do at home in this one. In their loss against Pitt, they did score 34 points, so some positives there, but couldn't play any defense. We love what we saw from CJ Bailey. 3 touchdown passes, 225 yards to the air. Very good stuff there. The running game was also fully online, and you got to be able to move the ball if you're going to score 34 points. The problem was the defense just could not stop the Panthers at all, giving up 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns. A brutal day, generating, 1 turnover, and that was the only real positive for the defense. Like, a rough day out there for the NC State Wolfpack on defense. Over the course of the year, 109th in points against. Like, that's not great. But this is a very good offensive team. They've shown they can hang with some of the, some decent teams there just in straight-up scoring. So look at the numbers, guys. NC State getting 5.5 points. We've got a total of 58.5. Georgia Tech is 6-2 against the spread. NC State's 3-5 against the spread. I know I just tried to say some nice stuff about NC State, but I cannot back them, even at home in this game. Give me Georgia Tech -5.5. NC State had some very positive signs through the first month of the regular season, but the Wolfpack have completely fallen off, losing 4 of their last 5 games. They've taken a big step back on the defensive side of the ball, down to 105th in the nation yards allowed, and the defense was a disaster in the last outing, getting annihilated there by Pittsburgh. Georgia Tech has one of the best offensive attacks in the ACC. That should be the difference maker in this one. We only need them to win by a touchdown in this game. Like, definitely give me Georgia Tech here playing on the road. Guys, that's all the games we have here for a very busy Saturday of college football action. Do me a big favor, hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. I'm more than happy to get back to you. I appreciate everybody watching these videos. Make sure you're clicking the link in the description. Get over there to stumpthespread.com. Check out that free picks tab. See what kind of free picks we have cooking in there every single day. Click that little login button and get signed up for the email list. That's a great resource every single day. You definitely want to get in on that. Check out the red hot premium picks over there as well. A great time to get in the mix. We've got tons of sports going on right now. This is a fantastic time to get on board over there at Stump the Spread. So definitely check that out if you're interested, guys. And we'll see you right back here tomorrow for some NFL action. Same time, same place for more sports betting action.